نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي ربي يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح ربي زدني علما ربي هب لي حكما وألحقني بالصالحين ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار يا أول الأولين يا آخر الآخرين يا ذا القوة المتين يا راحم المساكين يا أرحم الراحمين حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل اللهم إنا نجعلك في نحورهم ونعوذ بك من شرورهم اللهم منزل الكتاب سريع الحساب اهزم الأحزاب اللهم اهزمهم وزلزلهم اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الهم والحزن وأعوذ بك من العجز والكسل وأعوذ بك من الجبن والبخل وأعوذ بك من غلبة الدين وقهر الرجال آمين يا أرحم الراحمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Once again, Alhamdulillah, by the grace and tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today we are going to talk about ayah number 192 from Surah Al Imran. And we will go over the recitation and the meaning first. So, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
ربنا إنك من تدخل النار فقد أخزيته وما للظالمين من أنصار.
So in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that the people, like as we learned before, the people who are the ulil albab, they say this, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, Rabbana, our Lord. Rabb is the Lord. Rabb is the Lord, and there are many meanings included in the word Rabb, meaning the creator, the master, the Lord, the nurturing sustainer, the one who takes care, the one who maintains. Rabbana, na here means our. So our Lord, our master, our sustainer, our nurturing master. Innaka. Inna is indeed, certainly, definitely. There is no doubt that ka is you, that you man tudkhili. Man, whoever, tudkhili, you admit. So there's Rabbana, our Lord, indeed you, whom you admit, annari. Admit where? Dakhala is to admit somebody, to enter somebody into something. So whoever you admit into annar, the fire, faqad, then surely, fa is then, qad is surely. Then surely, akhzaytah, you have disgraced him. You have disgraced that person. Right? So whoever you have admitted into the fire, that person has been disgraced. That person, you have disgraced him, you have humiliated him. Wama, and not lidhalimina, for the people who do dhulm, for those who are the wrongdoers, min ansar, there are any helpers. Ansar is from Nusrat, it means to help somebody. So Ansar are those who help, the helpers, right? So for the wrongdoers, there are no helpers. So in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us a dua, which is, our Lord, whomsoever you admit into the fire, he is disgraced by you indeed, definitely. And for the unjust, there are no supporters. So it's a short ayah, but it is a very beautiful, and it has many, many, many lessons for us. This ayah, just like every ayah of the Quran, subhanAllah. But these ayat, like we talked before, are really special ayat. These last 10 ayat of Surah Al Imran. So if we recall the ayat before this passage, when it started from ayah 190 to the ayah number 200, these ayat, it started with the people who remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala standing, sitting, lying down. These are the intelligent people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls them intelligent people. They are the ulul albab. And these are the people, they think deeply and they understand that the whole creation has a purpose, and they understand that just like everything else, we ourselves also have a purpose. And right away, they make a dua. As soon as they understand that, they come to the dua and they ask for that, Ya Allah, you created all of this with purpose and everything, so protect me. from fire. They are the people who think deeply. They come to those conclusions. They are deep thinkers, and they're mindful people, basically. So they come to this conclusion. Right, so it is, and this dua is in continuation to that dua. They say, "Rabbana ma khalaqta hadha batilan subhanak fakina adhab nar." Right, so save us from the punishment of the fire. And the one, they wanted to be protected from the fire, but why do they want to be protected from the fire? It's obvious, nobody wants to burn. But more than that, even more than that, they say because of the fire, because Ya Rab, oh our Lord, whoever you admit into the fire, that person has been disgraced. We don't want to be from those people who are disgraced. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, like just like He told us before in the when we were talking about the Battle of Uhud, He told us that there are some people who died, who are martyrs, who are shaheed, but don't think of them as dead, but they are alive. But you do not see that. They're alive, but you do not see that. He told us previously in the Quran. Right? Similarly, now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaching us the true meaning of honor. What is the true honor and what is the true disgrace? And he's teaching us to look beyond what is just on the superficial level, right? So who is the person who's really humiliated? I know all of us want honor, all of us like to be respected, all of us want respect in our relationships and for ourselves as individuals and everything, right? None of us want disgrace, none of us want to be humiliated, right? So and what is the real humiliation? The real humiliation would be the person who is put into the fire on that day, on the day of judgment. That person would be humiliated. That person has lost all respect. That person would have lost all honor. And the worst humiliation ever would be when, for that person who on that day, or those people who on that day, they are thrown into the fire, right? And the intelligent people, the people who have sound minds and sound hearts, they want to protect themselves from such a humiliation, right? And then when we start worrying about that day a lot, when we start worrying about the true honor and the true disgrace, something that will last, like we know this dunya doesn't last, and we know things, and when we actually start worrying about that a lot, then we are not as concerned about the little things that happen in this world, and that will happen to all of us. That is unavoidable. We will, as we walk out in this world, there will be people who will be pleased with us, there will be people who will not be pleased with us, there will be people who behave nicely with us, who behave honorably with us, who give us what we deserve, and who give us the respect, who honor us, who deal with us in a just manner, who don't try to oppress us, who don't try to who gaslight us into something, who are not narcissistic, who are not like abusive or anything. But we'll also come across people who are those things, who are abusive, who are narcissistic, who are they're just, there are some people who just oppress whoever they can oppress. It doesn't matter if me or you or whoever comes in their contact, they are going to do that, right? So we all will face both kinds of people in this world, right? And sometimes when some things of this world they happen, it really, any disgrace that happens, sometimes it hurts, and it hurts, and it's natural for it to hurt, right? But when our main concern will become the akhirah, when we'll start to think deeper and deeper about this world and to see the realities around us, right? Then we will become, and as we develop the taqwa, the God consciousness, the consciousness of God, the consciousness of the reality of this world, and inshallah Allah Ta'ala will teach us more and more through the Quran and through the world and the events around us and in ourselves, in our lives, and in the world around us, that then we will be more and more concerned about the akhirah and the honor and the disgrace of the akhirah, and then things of this world will not seem as big, because that like even in this world, if somebody is just thrown into something, it is a bit of a disgrace, but it is a shorter disgrace, it's short-lived. But that day the height of punishment is going to be there, right? Height of the people who will be punished, it will be pure punishment. And it is interesting here that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that he said that those, indeed those that you admit to the fire, those are surely disgraced. But he didn't say, now the biggest problem that we can think of, okay, when somebody's being thrown into the fire, is that they're going to burn, it's going to hurt, There's a lot of pain involved. There's like, even in the fire of this world, we have so much fire extinguishers and fire protection measures, and in the schools and offices and everywhere we'll have these fire drills, and like the fire trucks are going, everybody has to give way and everything. We take fire very, very seriously, even in this world, right? And in that world also, the fire, and that fire, we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us through different traditions from the Prophet ﷺ, the things that he told us through the Prophet was that the fire of that world would be 70 times, at least 70 times more hot than the fire of this world. The fire of this world will seem cool in comparison to the fire of the afterlife, of the Jahannam, right? But even then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the concern of these people is not just the fire itself, but the disgrace that comes with the fire. So the height of the punishment is not the fire, it's actually the disgrace, right? Which kind of bears like a little bit of thinking. What does that mean, right? And why is that? Because like, more than the burning, more than the pain, more than the hurt, these people are concerned about the disgrace of being thrown into the fire. So they don't want that. They don't want that disgrace. First of all, how will it happen, right? Through different traditions, we learn that the people will be dragged into the hellfire, right? So they will be dragged and thrown into the hellfire. So there's a lot of humiliation involved. There is a punishment, but it's a humiliating punishment, right? And uh, Jahannam, what Jahannam will do is, neither in this world, if somebody burns, somebody has a certain level of burns, like more than 80% or more than this much percent or 90% burns or something, that person is not able to survive. They pass away, right? Because they cannot survive more than a certain, there's a human body in this world has a certain threshold of pain, certain threshold of anything that it can bear, and after that, the person dies. But in that world, Jahannam, there is no death. So Jahannam, it will be a constant pain, and the pain is not going to go less and everything. So this will not, neither Jahannam will neither leave somebody, and it will neither nor will it let the person live or breathe, basically, like in peace for even a second. So, and it will be a huge disgrace, right? And so these people, the people of intelligence, the people who are of sound minds and sound hearts, they are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may Allah ta'ala make us of them, that Ya Allah, protect us from this humiliation of the hereafter. And if we think about this world, if let's say any of us does anything wrong, right? Any sin happens, or any mistake happens, or any wrong happens, and which will happen from all of us. We are all human beings. We will make mistakes. We can and we will make mistakes. So when a mistake happens in this world, supposing that mistake comes out, or like it is talked about by a few people and everything, like, how many people will come to know? 10, 20, 30? How many people come to know about the mistakes? Let's say a child does a mistake in the class, or was caught cheating in a class. Like, okay, the class knows. Maybe the teacher calls the parents and tells them and everything. But okay, a few people came to know. But on that day, how much would be the disgrace that all humanity, all creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be there, and in front of all of them, the the mistakes of every person will be kind of revealed, and the person is being thrown into the fire in front of not just all human beings, from the first human being to the last human being, but also all creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in front of everybody, right? So for example, if we say if you think of someone goes to a prison for just a few days, even in this world, it's like their reputation is tinted forever. Okay, this person has been a criminal, they have a criminal record, they have been to the prison, and people look at them differently. Like, okay, oh, this is a criminal person, right? Like, okay, this person was taken to the prison. Oh, even if we don't know much details, everybody's like, oh, okay, let's be wary of that person. I'm not sure if I want to be friends with that person, or I want to, like, my family to be related to that person, or things like that. Like, there is a lot of disgrace involved, even if someone goes to the prison for just a few days. Or let's say, imagine that you're in a gathering with your family, friends, and even some strangers. It's a gathering of a lot of people, and someone comes into that gathering and slaps you in the face. Now, Yes, you have been physically hurt because of that slap, but more than the physical hurt would be that humiliation and that insult that someone hurt you in public, right? You know, like, it is human nature that we will feel that that pinch. Okay, why did somebody do that? You know, or let's say a parent or a sibling or a spouse shouts at us in the public, right? We don't like it. We tell them, you know what, don't do that. You know, like, okay, whatever we talk about at home or like inside of our closed doors is different. If you're angry with me, if you're upset with me, if you need to like say something, but don't talk to me like that in public. Don't scold me in public. Like, even if our parent is scolding us in public, we don't like it, right? And again, that is human nature. We want respect. We don't like to be humiliated in front of people. Or let's say somebody is sitting again in a gathering or something or whatever, or they are with the people they love or know or everything, and some cops come and they drag this person on the streets and take them to the prison. Not just take them to the prison, like, okay, can you come with us, or we want you to come with us for questioning or something, but they hold this person and they jerk him and they throw him on the floor and they're dragging him throughout the streets and taking him to the prison. Now, no matter what was the crime or what no matter how severe was the crime and everything, even if the person is a criminal, they will still feel that disgrace. They will still feel that humiliation and everything. And on that day, taking somebody, being taken and being thrown, into the fire, like being treated like firewood, being treated like garbage, being treated like something that is thrown in the fire that has no value, something that has no respect. Like there is nothing today, right? Like trash, being treated like trash and everything, literally being treated like trash. That will be a huge humiliation, right? And then they will have nobody to help them either. Nobody will help them either, right? So the word ansar, as we said, comes from nusrat, which means to help. And the one another added humiliation on that day would be that people in this world, sometimes they place all their hopes or all their that on false intercessions or intercessors, that somebody will make word for us. You know, I have so many connections that or I have so many allies, I have so many friends, I have so many people who I know in power, or this and that, like who can harm me? You know, like nobody can harm me. Like I can get away with anything, literally. Like, okay, who's there to stop me, right? But these unfortunate people will have no helpers or supporters to intervene on their behalf with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will only honor certain people. Yes, intercession will take place on the day of judgment. There will some people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow to speak and to basically make any recommendations or anything for people. But the the speaking of certain people will be to give them honor. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will honor some people, like that you were so good that you have this honor that okay, you can speak. And the people will be allowed to speak about certain people only, right? So you cannot just speak about everybody. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow to for the case to be made for certain people. So it can be assumed, like again, Allah ta'ala knows the best, but it can be assumed that people who were really good, but let's say they have a few minor mistakes here and there, or let's say people who were really really good, but their good deeds were not to the the kind of level that would take them to the level of Jannah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants for them. But they were really good to some really good people, to the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to the people who were really close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these people were very gracious to them, were very honored them a lot. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let the pious people that they honored to speak about these people, so that okay, ya Allah, these people were so good. I saw them doing good deeds. I saw them, and they were really nice and whatever. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might, inshallah, raise their ranks or make a decision in their favor. So intercession will happen, but it will happen by the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows, and for the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows to be taken. But for the zalimeen, for the people who do dhulm, for people who do wrong, for them there will be no helpers, right? And the disgrace here has been called as punishment. So some scholars have said that the humiliation on the day of judgment, on these plains of resurrection, on that day, it will be so disgraceful, of a punishment that a person would wish to be sent into the hellfire, into the fire, just throw me into the fire, but for the whole mankind to be present on that day and to get to hear about their misdeeds and to see them being thrown into the fire would be more humiliating for them, right? And on the day of judgment there is none to save them from you. Like, so the people are saying, the ulul albab, they are making this dua, rabbana innaka man tudkhilin nara faqad akhzayta wa ma lidh-dhalimin min ansar. Ya Allah, on that day of judgment there is no one to save them from you, Ya Allah, so don't make me amongst them, Ya Rab. So therefore there is whatever fate you decide for them, then nobody, there is nobody to stop that, right? And that's why also there is a dua that we have been taught, which is Allahumma ahsin aqibatana fil umuri kullaha. O Allah, grant a good end to all our matters. Wa ajirna min khazyi dunya wa adabil akhirah, and save us from humiliation in this world and from the punishment of the hereafter. So in this dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us to ask, O Allah, grant a good end to all our matters and save us from humiliation in the world and from the punishment of the hereafter. So even humiliation, we don't even like it in this world. We don't like it in this world, right? And those who have intellect, those who have intelligence, those whom Allah calls the ulul albab, they worry about their honor in the hereafter, right? And that's even in the beginning of this surah, we learn the dua, kulillahumma malikal mulki tu'til man tasha'a right? So we learned that, all that dua, we learned about honor, that honor is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gives it to whom he wants, he takes it away from whom he wants, right? So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for honor. And these people, they are not concerned with impressing people. Now, why are they asking for honor? Now, their main concern is not impressing people or having just a good image before them and everything. They are truly worried about honor on the day of judgment, and for that, to get that honor on the day of judgment, to get respect on the day of judgment, to be amongst the people of the right on the day of judgment, what is needed is sincerity in this world. Effort. What is needed is effort in this world. What is needed is forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the ulul albab, they strive for all of this. They strive for sincerity. They strive for effort. They strive to get the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that they can be saved from the humiliation of the hereafter. Like, if you think about this, like, let's say we want, like, all of us, there's a classroom and all the children are given their test papers back, and the a child who has failed on it, while there are many other children who have like scored 100%. There's some child who scored, like, there are many who scored 90%, and there's some who've done like really, really well, somebody who have like just got the passing mark, but this child has failed miserably. Now this child would not want their paper to be displayed on their desk. They will take it and they will quickly fold it and put it away in their bag. They would not want others to look at it. They would definitely not want for their paper to be displayed on the notice board of the school, right? And also similarly, if a teacher is announcing the marks from the highest to the lowest or from the lowest to the highest in front of the whole class, that announcement of marks could be the source of pride for some people, and it could also be a source of humiliation for some people, depending on how they scored, what did they do, right? But that, all that is just this dunya. That is the humiliation and the pride of this dunya, right? We could, in this dunya, what can happen is we could be humiliated one day, and the next day we could do something to redeem ourselves. We could, let's say somebody failed a test miserably, but they're like, okay, this was really bad, I don't want this to happen to me ever again, I'm going to put a lot of effort and I'm not going to fail the next time, I'm going to get really good marks, in fact I'm going to work so hard and I'm going to study and I'm going to focus so that, and I'm not going to waste my time, so that in the next exam actually I get really good marks and I want to be amongst one of the meritorious students, in fact, right? So that disgrace can turn into an honor, right? And so, like, or we can say, let's say somebody insults or hurts somebody in public. Now, again, if you look at the same example, there are people sitting with the friends and family, and there are some strangers as well, and somebody comes and slaps this person in the face. It is a matter of disgrace, but as soon as that person comes and slap this one on the face, before he or she even gets up, his friends or and family, or her friends and family, or and even strangers, they get up to defend him, like, how dare you hurt him, how dare you do this and everything, and they start fighting with this person. Now suddenly what has happened is this, what was disgrace has now turned into honor. Then that, like, this person has so much respect and so much honor that even if they didn't get up themselves, even before they could get up themselves and respond, they have so many helpers, they have people who truly love them, they have people who stand by them and everything, who are not just like friends with benefits. They are actually concerned about this person, they have the respect for this person, that they will stand up. So that disgrace can turn into an honor. It can happen in this world. The disgrace can turn into an honor, and an honor can turn into a disgrace as well, depending on what a person does with that honor. When they are in a position of honor, then do they utilize it for good, or they abuse their relationship, their position of power and authority, or a certain status, and they abuse it and use it for something wrong. So the honor can turn into disgrace, and the disgrace can turn into an honor in this world. It is not permanent. This life is not permanent, and whatever happens in this world, it is small, at a small level. But the disgrace of the akhirah is at a much higher level, and it is not never ending, it goes on and on. So that is our major concern. That becomes the major concern for the people of sound minds and sound hearts, right? The people of sound minds and sound hearts, they think that, ya Rab, that day I will be in front of the best of people. I will be in the front of, like, in the whole mankind, there'll be prophets standing there. In the whole mankind, there will be martyrs standing there. People who have given up their life for your cause. You are people who have been so strong in faith, and I see them and I feel shy of my own faith. Even if I have faith, I feel shy of my own faith when I look at them. How will I stand in front of all these people, Ya Rab? That will be my concern. I don't want to be disgraced. People are doing so well on that day. People are coming with so much sacrifices they did for your sake, so much hardship they went through for your sake, so much striving they did for your sake. And Ya Rab, if I am going to be thrown into the fire, then what is going to happen to me in front of everybody is getting such beautiful rewards, and I lose that? Ya Rab, I don't want to be do that. I don't want to be humiliated like that, right? And in this world, we put like so much time and so much attention about, like, our appearances, how we look in the mirror, we correct that, and we want a good job, we want a good education, we want good marks when we study, we love to get medals if we do anything in it. And that's human nature. We love to do things well, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put this love for beauty and love for honor, love for things in us, right? We want that. But that day we will want it even more, because whatever happens on that day is now forever. There's no ending that, right? So the people, the ulil albab, what are their qualities? They remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a lot. They ponder upon the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a lot. They think deeply, and they then they make a lot of du'as. And it can be said that they have come in contact with some revelation, because they're saying Rabbana, right? And they're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for different things, right? So if we look at our own lives, we spend so much time protecting ourselves from disgraces of this world. Like, we spent time, like we said, we spend time looking in the mirror to before we go out, to make sure, like, our hijab is correct, our, like, there's nothing on our face. If we ate something, there's nothing stuck in our teeth or everything. And if you're going out, and or if you're going for an important meeting or something, our clothes are ironed, and we are dressed properly, we're not wearing mismatched clothes and everything. And when we are in a certain position, let's say at an office or something, we maintain that position, we act according to that position, right? We act according to our age, we act in accordance with our status. Like, let's say a parent will not behave like a child. A parent has a certain status, a teacher has a certain status, and everything. We want to uphold that grace, that authority, that honor, that respect in this world, right? And a lot of time and energy we spent on that to protect ourselves. So how much time and energy are me and you willing to spend on the on protecting ourselves from the disgrace of the afterlife? We make the dua, but along with the dua, there is also action. There's also, what are we going to do now? Because we are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this. Then, as a result, it will reflect in our actions too. Our biggest concerns become the drivers for our biggest actions as well. with everything in this life. Like, for example, when a mother has a child, she loves the child so much, then that love for the child, that extreme love for the child, becomes a reason for her to sacrifice her sleep for the child. If the child is sick, she's not able to sleep. If the child needs something, if the child is hungry, she forgets that she was also hungry, but she starts feeding the child first. Okay, let me feed the child and then I will eat, or let me do this for the child, or the child needs something, she starts eating, and then the child needs something right away, and then she just stops her food and goes to take care of the child. If there was not so much love, she would not have been able to do that, right? So when we have so much concern for the afterlife, for the honor and the disgrace of the afterlife, then it will also reflect in our actions, that we will see that what does Allah Ta'ala want from us, and we do according to that. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us at another place in the Quran, in Surah Tahrim, that He will protect the prophets and those who believe. He will not throw those in the fire. Like, those will not be, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not unjust. He will not throw the prophets and the people of Iman into the fire, right? So, what it means on the other side, on the flip side, is those who are thrown in the fire means they had no Iman. There's a lack of iman associated with being thrown in the fire. So when somebody is being thrown in the fire, it means by implication that there is no iman, that they are the zalimeen, that for the zalim there is no ansar, there's no helpers. Now, who is zalim and what is dhulm? Dhulm is to take something and put it where it does not belong, right? So let's say the shoes, they belong on the floor. So if somebody picks up the shoes and puts them on the dining table, and there are a dirty pair of shoes, somebody came out, and instead of putting them on the shoe rack or putting them on the floor, everything, somebody takes them and puts them on the dining table where everybody's going to eat food. That's dhulm, because that's, these shoes don't belong here, you've put them in the wrong place, right? So dhulm can be of many ways, like a property, a land that belongs to somebody, but another group of people is trying to snatch that land from them, or oppressing them or something, right? That is dhulm as well. A zulm could be, let's say somebody made a mistake, but somebody else is punished for that mistake. That's zulm as well. The person who's actually committed the mistake should be punished. Let's say, and the biggest of zulm is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran itself that shirk is the dhulmun adim, right? The biggest zulm, the biggest injustice is what? Is shirk, is to have partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you put somebody in an equal level of Allah which does not belong there. And you've put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the level of somebody else, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's level is way, way, way higher. There's nobody at the level of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator, everything else is a creation. So putting anything or anybody at the same level as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is shirk. And that is the biggest dhulm, because you've put somebody or something at a place where they do not belong. And similarly, kufr is a big, big dhulm. And sometimes we do dhulm on ourselves, like shirk is the dhulm we do on ourselves. Kufr is a dhulm that we do on ourselves. Kufr means denying the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, denying the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Hiding those things. And shirk is a big dhulm, doing sins, um, doing things which are against the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are dhulm, right? And dhulm can be done on others, like oppression, taking away other people's rights, human rights, land rights, inheritance rights, the rights of a spouse, the spousal rights, taking the spousal right and giving the right to somebody else, right? And having a relationship with somebody outside marriage is a zulm, because like this relationship was meant to be, your relationship was meant to be with your spouse. But when you are having that relationship, or those kind of conversations that you should be having with your spouse, and you're having those kind of conversations with somebody else who's not your spouse, then that's a zulm, right? So these are all oppression, these are all injustices, right? So for the zalimeen, they're not going to be, those who do dhulm, they're not going to be any helpers. And if we think about Jannah, and if we think about Jahannam, what happens is, um, in this dunya, any time that we are going through any hardships, so let's say somebody is going through a really hard time, let's say they're suffering from a really bad disease, or let's say there's cancer, or there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of hardships, but there will also be some good. Even in that situation, let's say the child, you get to spend more time with your child, you get to see a lot of good from people, people help you and everything, and your heart is warmed by the love and the care that you get from other people or those near and dear to you. It could be that. And it could also be that somebody is going through a really good time in their life, but there could be certain pains as well. Let's say somebody is like doing really well in their studies, they're really healthy and everything's going really well, but they have some relationship issues with some relationship in their life. And maybe let's say there's something with a sibling going on. Everything's good with their own immediate, like the husband and wife, children, everything's going really good, and money is good, and health is good, and education is going good, and the jobs are doing good. But the person has like something with their sibling going on, with their brother or their sister going on, which is really bothering them at times. So even the pleasures of this world are not 100%, and the pains of this world are not 100% as well, nor are they very lasting. But exclusive pleasure and pleasure only, and no pain whatsoever of any kind, that is what will happen in Jannah. Like there'll be only pleasure, there'll be not even an unpleasant word that we will hear. There'll not be anything unpleasant of any kind going on. As opposed to that, also Jahannam in the afterlife will be exclusive pain and disgrace. There will be no honor whatsoever. There will be no respect whatsoever. There will be no mutual friendship, or even the people who used to be friends, if both of them end up being in hellfire, they will hate each other. There will be no respect or love or care for each other. Everybody would want to hurt everybody else. Everybody's cutting at each other's, like literally doesn't even like to look at each other, basically. Let's say like that. There's a lot of pain like that. There is a lot of mutual hatred, and there's no love and respect like that. And there's a pain, obviously, and there's a lot of disgrace. So it's exclusive pain and disgrace, with no grace whatsoever, with no honor whatsoever, with nobody respecting you at all, right? So that is a very it's a very huge thing. Also in this ayah, what we see is we learn, and these few ayat we learn in the previous ayah as well, and this as well, and the next ayah as well. We see that the people of the ulul albab, the people of intelligence, the people of sound minds and sound hearts, what do they say? They say, as soon as they ponder, they remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they ponder upon the earth and the skies and all the creation and everything. They think deeply about it, and they reach the conclusion that there is a lot. And as soon as they reach the conclusion, what do? They say Rabbana, right? They call God with the name Rabb. Now, the word Rabb is so beautiful, that is because it's a specific concept found in Islam, right? The Rabb, like we said, includes several meanings with it. Rabb is the creator. He is the master. He is the Lord. He is the nurturing one. He's the one who maintains. He's the intelligent, all-powerful being that has like that is constantly taking care of us. That is someone who does tarbiyah is someone basically who takes something from something really, really small and grows it into something beautiful. Let's say there is a seed, and the seed is slowly goes through different stages of like developing a shoot and some roots and everything. Then it grows, then the branch grows and everything, and then through a whole process, it becomes a tree which bears fruits, which has many seeds in it. Now this whole process is tarbiyah. Right? A Rabb is somebody who takes care of us at every stage. He does not just create us and leave us, but he has a relationship with us. Like different kind of creators in this world. For example, we see people create different things. Like people create art, people create like programs, people create apps and everything. But after they create it, many times they don't have a relationship with it. Like an architect will design a house, and then somebody that house will be built, and somebody is coming to live in that house, but then after that the architect's not doing anything for the house. They designed it and the builder built it, and now the people who live in it are basically taking care of it and everything. But the Rabb is somebody who has a relationship with us, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like in all the other religions or concepts that we have, or the life the paradigms of life that people have, the way people look at life and the energy and the power behind it, or about God. People have different concepts, and some say that he's just a creator, some say that he's just an all-powerful entity, some have even now said that he's just like it's just a force. There's just a source behind everything. He's just the power. So gravity, electricity, steam, AI now, mechanisms. Basically, they look at all of these things as the all-powerful beings and everything, right? And or they, but in Islam we don't randomly put things out, our thoughts, our ideas, the things we want, our desires, the things we really look out for. We don't just put it out to the universe to manifest it. We don't be like, like in the modern day, it is said a lot that when you think, you just like project it and you just look for that energy and it will happen for you. Right? Islam does not teach us that. And these du'as, they're teaching that these people don't just say, okay, the sky is so powerful, the earth is so powerful, so let me just keep manifesting and doing these affirmations. It's really good. There's no harm in that. We should have positive thinking. We should the affirmations are really good to help, but putting our faith in them is that just because I keep thinking I want to be rich and I have this energy, it will just happen, as opposed to asking Allah to make it happen. So in Islam, we have a very specific concept of God, that God didn't just create us and leave us. He has an active, ongoing relationship with us, and he has multiple relationship with us. Like he's the creator, we are the creation. He listens. We are the one who have a lot to say. We have a lot to tell him. We have a lot to ask him. He's the one who sees. We are the one who act, whose actions are being recorded. He's the one who's all powerful. We are the weak ones. We need his help, right? He's the guide. We are the ones who get lost again and again and again and again and again. We need his guidance, right? But in all of these relationships that we have, one relationship that defines all of our other relationships with our maker is a relationship which is in on the top of all the nations, or all the relations, sorry. So we can look at it this for example. Again, there's no example for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but some things help us to understand. Examples of this world help us to understand. Let's say somebody, there's a father, and he is with his child, and sometimes he's being a good friend to the child. Sometimes they're playing a game together and he's the companion or the competitor of the child in the game. Like let's say they're playing some chess or some other game they're playing, and they're competitors in that. Sometime the father is the coach. Maybe the father is teaching the child how to drive, or maybe the father is teaching the child how to swim or to how to ride a bike. Maybe sometimes the father is giving the advice to the child, that and he's being a mentor, that you know what, this is what you should do and everything. But above all these relationships, what's the umbrella relationship that the person has with the child is that of a father. He's a father, and under the umbrella of the father, these are all these other things that they do together, right? Or somebody is a teacher, but sometimes a teacher could be a friend, sometimes a teacher could be, a guide, sometimes a teacher could be, even have some other, uh, other, when they're playing a game together or something, they could have other relationships at that time. But again, the umbrella relationship is the teacher. Now, our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the the overall relationship that we have, the umbrella relationship that we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the overarching term that defines our relationship with our maker is the word Rabb. And that's why a lot of du'as in the Quran we will see with Rabb. Rabbana means our Lord, our Rabb. And Rabbi means my Rabb, right? So, but both of them is Rabb. We are acknowledging our Rabb, right? So it is our defining relationship. And by contrast, when we say, just like we said, when he is the creator, I'm the creation. He's the one who listens, I'm the one who talk. I'm the one who has a lot to ask. I'm the one who has a lot to talk to him about, right? Similarly, when we say he's the Rabb, by definition, by contrast, I'm an abd, meaning I'm the one. It makes us the humbled slaves and servants of Allah subhanahu wa taala, right? And and this sometimes is a thing which is harder to accept, because when I'm an abd, when I am his humble servant, when I am supposed to serve him and everything, that means my accountability, my what who is going to decide whether I'm doing good or not is not me myself. I cannot decide whether what I'm doing is right or wrong, or what I'm doing is I do to the best of my ability. I learn this. This life is an open book test. I have the book always open with me. I have the Quran. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has given us the Quran. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has given us the Hadith of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi wa alihi Wasallam. He has given us the seerah of the Prophet. He's given us the stories of the lives of the Sahabas, right? So we have all these things with us all the time. We can look at it and do the best that we can do in different situations of our life. Yet the decision I cannot judge myself. I cannot judge other people and I cannot judge myself either. I cannot say, oh my God, I'm so horrible person. I'm this bad, I'm that bad. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a dignity. We do our best and the judgment belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because Allah ta'ala knows even about ourselves what we don't know, and he has the right to judge. We are the humble slaves of our master, and so our master is the one who will judge, right? Also, when we look at the Allah, when before we were sent into this world, we were with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We were all souls. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created all of us as souls all together, and he asked us, Alastu bi rabbik? Am I not your Lord? Right? At that time, in that conversation, which will come later in Surah Al-Araf, we learn that at that time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't ask us, do you believe that I exist? He did not ask, am I not your creator? He did not ask, am I not your guide? Am I not the wise one? Am I not the most merciful one? No, he asked, am I not your Rabb? Right? Also, if we look at the Fatiha, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, right? So, when anybody is introducing themselves to somebody else, let's say we go on a flight and the captain of the flight introduces and he says, I am so and so, and I'm the captain of your flight. Or let's say we start a new job, we go somewhere for a new job, then we meet somebody, we meet like the manager or somebody, and he says, okay, I am so and I am your manager for this position, right? So usually how we introduce ourselves when in a relationship is we say, okay, I am so and this is my relationship with you, this is my overall relationship with you, and then everything else comes that, right? So when we say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Alhamdulillah, all praise and gratitude belongs to Allah. Allah is the proper name of God. And then what is the relationship? Rabbil Alameen. He's the Rabb, not just of me and you. He's the Rabb of all that exists. Um, Alameen, of all the alam, of all the worlds. He's the all the times and all the generations, of all the people, of all the animals, of all the human beings, of all the stars and the planets, of all the seen world, of all the world that we do not see, of all the things we know about and of all the things that we do not know about, of all the people who are going to come until the day of judgment, of all the creation of Allah that's going to come until the day of judgment. And he is the one who is the Rabb. Rabb is the one who has continued relationship. The relationship is continuous. It's not a one-time thing. And he has a continuous authority over us as well. So in this world, even any person cannot have like any human being cannot have absolute authority over us. Like even a mother, for example, the mother does everything for the child in the beginning, more and more so. But as the time goes on, there comes a time when the child becomes an adult and the child starts making their own decisions, right? And they may start making their own choices and they live with it and everything. So mother is not in control. And there's a time that the mother even passes away, but the child still carries on, right? But the word Rabb tells us that he has a continuous relationship with us. And that's why we ask him. We ask him directly. ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار ربنا إنك من تدخل النار فقد أخزيته وما للظالمين من أنصار ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسولك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. Right? Rabb, our Rabb, my Rabb, right? And we ask him. And Rabb also is a word that comes from revelation. So this also shows that these people have come in contact with some revelation, meaning they are not, yes, they started on the path of on this journey to know God because they felt it. They had their fitra was intact. They were not, their fitra was not polluted by, um, by the by greed or jealousy or everything. They had sound hearts, and they used to think about this. All of this could not be in vain and everything. And so they had this journey. They had like, no human being can create all of this. And why am I here? Why am I going through these ups and downs in lives? What is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of all of this? I see so many injustices around. I see so many things around that are not completely just. Is this going to be just like this? Or is they had some things pointing them towards God. And then they also came, Rabbana also shows that they also came in contact with some revelation. If they were at the time of after Islam came, after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they came in contact with the Quran. Maybe they were the people at the time of Musa alayhi salam, they came in contact with the Torah. Maybe they were in the time of Isa alayhi salam, they came in contact with the Injil. Maybe they were in the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam, Nuh alayhi salam, Adam alayhi salam. Some kind of revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were exposed to Allah's word, they understood it, they were convinced by it, and they internalized it. And then, because of all of that, they start talking to Allah directly. So more and more we interact with the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more and more we develop this direct relationship with him, that there is actually no intermediary. Like we know we can have people in our life who assist us with the ilm, who can assist us with the ilm of the knowledge, who can teach us, who we look up to as teachers and everything. But there is nobody, not even the Prophet, um, about the direct relationship with Allah. There's no intermediary. When we ask Allah directly. There's no need for a chain, right? We don't need to, okay, I will ask you and you can ask God because I'm such a sinner, so you ask God on my behalf. That is not the concept of Islam. The concept of Islam is no matter you are the best person or the worst person, you still can ask Allah directly because you have a direct relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, when they ask about me, I am near. Right? Usually, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Prophet, He says, okay, when they ask you about the moon, tell them this. When they ask you about the periods, tell them this. When they ask you about inheritance, tell them this. When they ask you about this, tell them this. But in this phrase, when they ask you about me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed the words, then tell me. He says, like, okay, I'm already near to this person. When a person is asked about me, when the person is trying to find out, like, trying to get closer to Allah, Allah Ta'ala is already close to him, that person. So, because he's the Rabb, because we have direct relationships with him, sometimes what happens is, um, sometimes we have this, a lot of us, what we develop is sometimes we develop this, um, you know, like, we look at human tendencies which are not so good. We some really bad human tendencies as well that we see around us, or even within us. A'udhu billah, may Allah Ta'ala protect us from them. And we project them onto God. A'udhu billah. That's something really, really dangerous. Like, so sometimes we see other people, they are making they're oppressing others, they are making other people suffer, and they're enjoying their suffering. Like nowadays they call it trauma porn, even, like to watch people suffer. A'udhu billah, a'udhu billah, a'udhu billah. We look at some people who have sadistic tendencies, like serial killers or mass murderers, or who just love to humiliate others and everything. And then sometimes we feel, Audhu billah, Audhu billah, Audhu billah, when we are going through a hard time, we project that, like, like, why is God doing this to me? Like, why am I going through this? What's the reason for this for me? Right? But people of sound minds, they understand that God has created everything with a purpose. He has creating every suffering of this world also with a purpose. Anything that we see going around us, everything has a purpose. Even the sufferings that we see have a purpose. May Allah Ta'ala help us to understand, right? And even if we don't understand, then we know that it has a purpose. And every suffering of the afterlife is also 100% deserved. Just like the one who created everything in this life with a purpose, he would never throw anyone in hellfire without reason, right? So justice, like the modern day, some people talk about evolution. Everything happened because of evolution and survival of the fittest and everything, although they don't have enough scientific proof for that. But they have made the propaganda so much that they, like, people don't some people, most people actually don't even know that there's not enough even scientific evidence for what they propagate in the name of science and call it evolution and everything. But evolution can't explain two things. It can't explain the creativity, because like why do we need color for survival? Why do we need taste? Like we can survive without that. Like it cannot explain creativity, and it cannot explain justice. Even a small child, if we do something that they don't like, they say, no, that's not fair. You know, that's not fair. I deserve this too, and everything. So even a child who doesn't explain something, there's something in our fitra that wants justice, right? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right, he would never, he is the just. He would never throw anyone into the fire without reason. Anybody who's thrown into the fire, they did such something wrong, and they thought that they could get away with it just because they have some helpers, because they have certain power or they have certain money from which they buy help, right? And they become comfortable doing wrong because they have this security and this backing in place. In this world we see this all the time, right? This is how we know this world works. Like it's not something good, it's not something we want, but we are also told to be realistic, not idealistic. This world, we see this happening all the time. A lot of people who do wrong, they become so comfortable doing it because they bought people who they've used their money and the power to buy help, or people who stand by them and allow them to do all that injustice, or basically guard them while they do all these injustices. Audhu billah. May Allah Ta'ala protect us from being those who do injustice to others, or injustices being done to them, right? So these people, they do wrong, and they feel that they can get away with doing wrong, and they do get away in this world sometimes. Many a times actually we see people getting away with doing wrong in this world, but they will not get away on the after in the afterlife. Everything is being recorded, and the punishment of everything will be given there. And when these people will be disgraced, when we see injustices happening and we see people letting not being caught because of those injustices, not being held accountable for those injustices, a person with sound mind and heart understand that they will be taken to account, and there will be huge repercussions in the afterlife, because everything single thing that we do, every mithqala zarra, every atom's worth of things that me and you are doing, it is all being recorded, and it is all being kept in a record. So everything will come out. Things we don't even think of like they're a big deal will come out that day. Sometimes a person says something that he didn't even think it's a big deal, but that is already recorded, right? So it is a big deal, right? And we are afraid of that. We are afraid of the disgrace of what we have done and everything. That is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls it a disgrace, that it's a kind of a punishment. This a disgrace is a kind of punishment, and we are told to seek protection from that. Also in this, we also learn from this that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is redefining honor from us. He's telling us that dignity and honor actually comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this world, sometimes we'll see very good people being dishonored by very evil people. Very good people being insulted by very evil people. We saw the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the people around them who were really evil people doing really nasty things, making fun of the prophets, joking about the prophets, like insulting them, trying to harm them physically, trying to kill them, in some cases, even killing them, right? But their doing all these actions did not actually dishonor any of the prophets, right? It is like somebody looks up at the sun and spits, the spit comes on their own face. It doesn't go to the sun because it cannot reach the sun, right? So sometimes in this world, when we come across a lot of, we might be doing something good, and when we stand up for something good, we face a lot of dishonor or something, and which people much better than us have faced much worse than us. It helps us to remember that true dignity and true honor is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and truly disgraced is not the disgrace of this world sometimes, but it is the disgrace that will happen in the afterlife. Right? Umar radiallahu anhu, he used to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us dignity by submission to him. Submission to him gave us dignity. Submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us dignity. And if we seek honor in anything else other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will humiliate us. Meaning, if me and you, if I seek honor in anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that same thing in which I'm seeking honor, that same thing will humiliate me. Like if I'm seeking honor through money, then money will become a cause of my downfall, right? I seek honor from Allah and then I use money for that. I utilize money for that. No harm in this, right? Also, every sin for in that way, every sin is a means of humiliation, because every sin is a bit of a humiliation, because it is taking me away from the honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, right? And if we learn from the story of Adam alayhi salam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi salam, and then this creation, this human being that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, he put something really special in it. This light that he put in it, this soul that he put in a human being. It was so important, it was so precious, it was so beautiful, it was so honorable, that once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put that, he asked all the angels to do sajda to honor this creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that how amazing this creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, which is a human being, that needs to be honored by all other creation, right? Above all other creation, right? So every single human being, including me and you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has honored us. Every single human being, no matter what religion, no matter what age, no matter what gender, no matter what race, like what color of the skin, what place we were born, what nationality, what passport we hold, no matter what family we belong to, every single person, rich or poor, every single person has an honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has honored every single child of Adam alayhi salam, which includes me and you. So the biggest gift to us was that honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. Right? The biggest gift to us was this honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us by being a human being. And then after being a human being, for whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the gift, the beautiful gift of hidayah, of iman, that is a biggest gift. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the honor of a believer is more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the Kaaba itself. The honor of one believer, which includes me and you, Alhamdulillah, honor of one believer. Your honor, your respect is much more precious to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the Kaaba itself. Let that sit in. Your honor, your respect is more precious to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the Kaaba itself, of every single believer, is more precious to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And this is what, like that every human being is honored. This is something, a believer obviously has more honor, but every single human being has that honor, and more honor than any other creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what made Shaitan so angry. Why do I not get that honor? Why does this creation, this newly created creation, get this honor? Why not me? I have been worshipping Allah for so long. I was a jinn, but I was promoted to be the angels. I am the one who deserves that honor more than anything else. I am the one who's entitled to this. This is my right. I have a right to that honor. Nobody else has that honor. Right? So Shaitan, this made Shaitan really, really angry. But when Shaitan got really, really angry, what did he want to strive for? He didn't want to throw the human beings to be thrown in the fire, but he wanted to disgrace them. He wanted to disgrace them. He wanted to take away their honor. What happened to Adam and our parents, Adam alayhi salam and Hawa radiallahu anha? When they ate from the tree, their shame was disclosed to them, right? It was made, I mean, like it was. So imagine how how dishonored we would feel if in the public somebody snatched away our clothes. Audhu billah, may Allah Ta'ala protect us. May Allah Ta'ala protect all of us. Right? So we will feel disgrace. We will feel dishonor. Right? So having dishonor is something, having being insulted or being humiliated is something that disturbs us, because our biggest gift that was given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the honor, that he gave us a respect, he gave us an honor and everything, right? So we would, And that's what shaitan wants. Shaitan wants to take away our honor, and that's why people who are ulil albab, people who have understanding, who come in touch with the revelation, who learn about the stories of Adam alayhi salam, and of the other prophets, and the things that happened with the previous nations, or the different things in the Quran, their biggest worry becomes, Ya Allah, I don't want to be disgraced. Ya Allah, I don't want to be disgraced. You have given me the biggest gift. I don't want to be the of those people who lose these biggest gift. The biggest loss of this world, of a human being, would be to lose the biggest gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them, right? And this word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? This word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps us to protect and preserve the honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. So the question, to conclude, the question that me and you ask ourselves, the what this ayah teaches us to do, and the Quran teaches us to do, and what we ask ourselves is, are we honoring the words of the one who has honored us, who has given us the honor, the owner of all honor and all respect, of all izzah, the Al-Aziz, the Malikul Mulk, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has given me and you an honor. Are we going to honor His words? Are we honoring His words? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to honor the words that He has given us access to. And it comes with a responsibility. It doesn't come with just privilege, it comes with a lot of responsibility. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to live up to that responsibility that He has given us. When He teaches us His word, when He makes us those who learn this word, He allows us to touch His word, when He allows us to learn His word, when He allows us to teach or to share His word with others, we have a responsibility that is higher. When somebody is put on a position, then with like they say, with every power comes a responsibility, right? And with higher power there's a higher responsibility, there's a higher accountability. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought us in touch with His word, with His commands, then may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also make us of those people who live up to His commands. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not make us, never make us, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never make us of those people who lose their touch with our Rabb, who always remember that we have a direct connection. I have a direct connection with my Lord. You have a direct connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is nobody in between that connection. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to be of those who honor this connection. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who are the people of Jannatul Firdaus, who live right under His arsh, who live right under His arsh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those people in Jannatul Firdaus who will meet our Rabb morning and evening. There are some people in Jannatul Firdaus who will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every Friday on Jummah. There's a special time when they'll meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there will be other people, there'll be other people who will be so special that they will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every morning and evening. They will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every morning and evening. May Allah ta'ala make us of those people. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those people whom He does not admit into the fire, who He never disgraces in this world or in the next. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our accounts easy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of the Allahumma hasibni hisaban yasira. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our hisab easy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those people who He enters into Jannah bighairi hisab, without any hisab. Ya Allah, if You start taking our account, Ya Allah, we'll be disgraced. Ya Allah, we start to do one good, and in doing that good we make 10 mistakes. Ya Allah, forgive us for those mistakes. Ya Allah, make us of those people who you enter to Jannah without going through the fire. Ya Allah, make us of those people who direct enter into Jannah, direct enter into Your Jannah by Your mercy, because it is Your mercy alone that will save us, Ya Rab. And for the unjust, there are no supporters, Ya Rab. And for us, Ya Rab, for us, You are our support. Allahu waliyul ladina amanu yukhrijuhum min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur. Ya Rab, You are our protective friend. You are our supporter. You are the one who guides us. Ya Rab, You are the one who takes care of us. Ya Allah, take care of us. Bring us out of darknesses. Whatever dhulm we are doing, protect us, Ya Allah. Protect us from any dhulm that we have done on ourselves, or any dhulm that we get the opportunity or the position to do on others. Ya Allah, protect us from all kinds of dhulm. Make us of those people who are pleased with You and whom You are pleased with. Ameen ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Any goodness that has come from this talk is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. He is the owner of all goodness. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought us together as sisters in Islam in this world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reunite us as sisters in Islam on the day of judgment, under the shade of His throne, when there will be no shade except His, and then once again in Jannatul Firdaus. Ameen. Just and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this from us. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. آمين يا أرحم الراحمين. سبحانك اللهم أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك 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 ونتوب إليك.